Good evening, everybody. How are we doing? I'm Mr. Strickland, Coach Strickland. Got Miss Woods here.
Hi.
I think I'd like to, hey, I think I have to wait just a couple minutes. I see there's still a few joining. I think I'm going to plan for us to start around 8:03, maybe 8:05. How's it going?
Hey.
Just saying how we're going to start in about 2 or 3 minutes or so.
What?
Yep, there's some more joining. I'm so excited that we've got all of y'all on tonight. I know it's a little bit late, but my two boys are asleep, thank goodness.
Hi.
Hopefully everyone's having a nice evening. Yes, Sylvia, I have a little coffee.
I did too. I don't usually have coffee in the evening, but I went ahead and I did it tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to spend some good
Actually,
time with my
it's
wife
really
and then
comforting.
probably grade some papers later. There's always more
Ugh.
grading to do, right?
Oh, actually, I do. I should do some. I forgot.
We'll get started here in just a little bit. I saw a couple more just joined. I'm going to wait just a little bit longer, just a couple minutes, make sure there's no other. Oh, there's someone else. Awesome. Very excited for this. We are kicking off Willow Springs Robotics, which we're calling, by the way, Lovejoy Robotics. We're all one, just like, we're one heart, one Lovejoy.
I'm tickled. I hope you can see my face
Lovejoy
right
Robotics.
now, because I think this is the start of a beautiful thing.
Definitely
it's gonna be solid. I was telling the kids today, actually, Mr. Strickland, about 1082, and I was telling them about how it's gonna give. We have an identity, and we're one unit. Even though we're in different campuses, we're still one unit, and now we all are 1082, and that's gonna carry forward. And
there's a lot of history with that I'm still learning.
Really?
Teams before I was hired back in 2016 qualified for state. Sorry, I was just responding to someone who was having some audio issues. Yeah, we are talking. If there's anyone, someone's rejoining the Zoom. Yeah, no, the 1082, that's been our team number since Lovejoy High School created a robotics team, and 1082 represents now more than Lovejoy High School. It's Lovejoy High School and Willow Springs Middle School. And you can actually go onto what's called the VEX database. There's a public website where you can see the history of our teams that have competed since 2009 and 2010. And you can see which teams did well and which ones qualified for Worlds. So being, our middle schoolers are going to be on teams that have that 1082. There could be 1082M, 1082S, things like that. And we're going to get started in just a second. For those of y'all just joined us, we're talking about kind of the meaning behind 1082. But there are two teams of mine that qualified for the Worlds, VEX Worlds, which is the World Championship last year. And because the World Championship was canceled because of COVID, which is very frustrating, like you see professional sports teams do when teams make it to the championship game, I'm hoping to get a banner in our lab at one point, but I am retiring those team numbers. It was 1082A and 1082B. And so to honor them and their hard work and making it to the World Championship and not getting to compete because of COVID, no team at Lovejoy will ever again have 1082A or 1082B. But anyways, 1082, it means a lot. So I'm excited that, yeah, it's a tradition. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get started. I think most of y'all have joined. I am going to take a very quick screenshot just so I have record of who was here. We're so glad y'all are all here. Can everyone hear me okay? Awesome. Looks like someone else is joining, even better. All right, well, we're going to jump in. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to pause on this screen for a second. If anyone would like a copy of this slideshow for their records, and there's actually some hyperlinks in this slideshow that you will want to click on. Ms. Woods and I will email these out at the end of our meeting, but if you want to follow along and have access to all the things that are in this slideshow, just type in this bit.ly link down below. It's bit.ly, that's ly/Lojo Robo Info. If you type that in and hit enter on any device, you should be able to view the slideshow. If anyone has any issues pulling it up, let me know. You don't have to pull it up, but it may come in handy. Okay. Glad everyone's ready to go. Let's jump in. This won't take very long. I'm going to breeze through this, and then we're going to address some questions that have come through. Ms. Woods will talk about kind of our shared vision for this. And by the way, I am Mr. Strickland. I am the robotics and engineering teacher at Lovejoy High School. Y'all may not know me yet. I teach a variety of engineering courses. I was hired last year, but I'm also a former Lovejoy High School student. My wife and I were both there for the first 4 years of its existence. We graduated in the class of 2010, and it was a huge blessing and an honor to come back to teach where I graduated from. I've got 2 young boys. One's a 4-year-old at Hart Elementary. One is 7 months old. And we are just thrilled to be a part of this family and this journey. In fact, Sylvia's son, Ms. Woods' son, is in the same class as my son. So it's really cool.
And I'm Miss Woods, and I've known most of you for 2 years now. So I'm excited about what we're about to do here. And I think it's going to be a great transition from middle school to high school. And I'm very excited about the whole unity, cohesion, tradition, identity. I hope I'm not jumping the gun any, Mr. Strickland, but I'm also really excited about the idea of the older kids mentoring the younger kids.
Absolutely.
And seeing if that won't cause them to just grow exponentially, much, much faster than they would if they didn't have that mentorship. Anyway.
Oh, absolutely. I will touch on that more later, but they are very excited. I had a team meeting with them Monday after school to let them know about the changes happening, and they're all super excited. So we're going to talk about a few things today. Among the most important of those would be safety, expectations, and how you can help. But I want to first talk about some more of our history. Last year, it was the first year I was teaching at Lovejoy High School and coaching robotics. One of the first things we did was rebrand from, we were previously called Extreme Engineering, and I wanted to have a new, vision, new culture, even a new logo. And so we became Lovejoy Robotics. For the first time in school history, we had 6 teams registered that competed. I think previously the highest was 4. We also had our very first all-girls robotics team in district and campus history. Very proud of them. They did a phenomenal job last year. They even qualified for state last year. Each team attended between 11 to 13 competitions. Again, there was no COVID until after the state tournament, so teams got a lot of experience last year. There were multiple awards earned among many of our teams, and in total, out of all 6 teams, there were 21 awards earned. They are displayed in the high school in my engineering lab, and I'm pretty sure, I haven't told you this yet, Miss Woods, but I'm going to leave them there the entire time I'm teaching at Lovejoy, because that first season, I'm never going to forget that first season. And of course, I mentioned this, A and B qualified for VEX Worlds. I'm going to retire those numbers. B, 1082B had 1 returning student. He's a senior this year. So he's going to be able to compete this year with 1082B. And then I'm going to retire 1082B and hopefully hang some banners from our lab. But we're very excited that 5 of 6 of our teams qualified for the state tournament and did great last year. But we have amazing students. I see there's some students watching this Zoom meeting. Get excited, because when you're on a VEX robotics team, sometimes you're so good, or your team is just at a level where they get invited to compete in the National Air and Space Museum. So there was 1082B. This wasn't the state tournament or World's Championship, but they had done so well, they got invited to go to Virginia, to Chantilly, Virginia, and they were competing under the boosters of one of the shuttles. You got this.
Uh-oh. He's been having trouble with his webcam, so he'll fix it. He'll be right back. I know you guys know if I got to stand underneath a space shuttle, I would be giggling like a little kid. There he is. Okay, your sound is way off. Can you hear me? Can't understand you.
Can y'all hear me now?
There you go. There you go.
Let me just try to rush through this. And Sylvia, if you need to jump in, jump in. Anyways, lots of great opportunities, great pictures, amazing stuff happening. These are some of those are pictures of the lab. This was our team last year. First time we ever had this many students. We had 32 or 33. And here's a lot of our girls. Not all of them are pictured here, but Dr. Goddard was a big fan. He came and took a picture with them. This was what I presented to my parents back in August. And I'm happy to say that we have now 62 team members at the high school, and split among 8 teams, about 7 per team, roughly. So we have grown and we're continuing to grow. And that is something to be very proud of. It's something that we want to brag about when we get a chance, because STEM and Lovejoy is growing. We also are one of 50 teams in the nation to have been chosen to be part of this pilot program for the VEX Artificial Intelligence Competition. I won't talk much more about it, but there's a lot of really cool state-of-the-art sensors they get to use, and this team automatically gets to compete at the VEX Worlds Championship. It's a very elite team. It's my only team that they had to try out for. Every other team gets to just join, and as long as they're committed, they get to be on a team, because we believe in STEM for all. All students can be a part of a robotics team, whether they're in a class or not. And same goes for y'all in middle school. Season overview. So I'm not going to show the video just for sake of time, but there's links here. And if you just go on Google and type in VEX Changeup or VRC Changeup, that's the name of the competition this year. Each year, each season, the competition stays on a 12-foot by 12-foot field, but the challenge changes. The game elements, it all changes.
The kids, my kids should have that link. You guys should still have that link in classroom. So if your parents want to see it, show it to them.
Absolutely. And parents, it's great to understand at least a basic level of how the game works. That way you can talk to your students about it and even strategize with them. So I won't go on in more detail on that just for sake of time, but we do call our engineering workspace at the high school the lab. So if you ever hear us refer to the lab, that's referring to the high school. We're really big on a lot of things, but if I had to, tell you some of the most important things they'll do is collaborate, build, program, analyze, drive, and document. And I'm a huge believer, Miss Woods is too, in giving your young men and women skills for the real world. I'm a former U.S. Army soldier. I also worked in the engineering field for 4 to 5 years while I was getting through college. AutoCAD Civil 3D, I was a drafter. But the engineering notebook is a crucial part of a robotics team. And I had teams qualify for the state tournament based on the quality of their engineering notebook. So documenting design is a very important part of what we do. It's not just all building and driving robots, but that of course is a big part of it. So let's pause for a little bit and talk about how practices will work. Miss Woods, jump in as you see fit, but I'm just going to cover some of the basics. I am at the high school every Monday until 6:15 to give our students, middle schoolers will be able to come over to the high school. Parents can drive them and drop them off, and Mrs. Woods and myself will be there to monitor. But every Monday till 6:15, we're open. And the way that this works, it's not like an athletics team or something where the coach says, I need them there for this hour, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's it, period. The way that I structure it is it's like there's open hours, right? Open office hours or lab hours where
Open
students
lab.
come. Yeah, they come as they can. And I set the culture and the expectation of your family and schoolwork comes first. But when you can put in work on your team, you come in and you put it in, because we believe in excellence and we believe in winning. So it's no pressure, but it's a come as you can environment. So Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, I am always there until about 5:15. Wednesdays, Mrs. Woods will be on duty. I leave early to go get my littlest boy, but Wednesdays, Mrs. Woods will be there until, what did we say, around 5:15?
Well, and you need to change that because I'm going to the high school, right?
Yes, I am so sorry.
So I'm going to the high school. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let him go, and I'm going to take his place. And I'm going to also take his place one more day of the week whether he likes it or not. And so one of those days, I'm going to be there 2 days a week. He's going to be there, I guess, 3 days a week. Maybe we'll swap Fridays or something. We'll figure that out so we can even have time. But one of us will be at the lab. So any day that they can. I know that they have other things going on, and so do the high school kids. I think if I'm correct, some of the high school kids even have jobs. And so That's why it's open lab. So it's not like, oh, you didn't go to the lab this many times this week, you're going to get docked, you're going to get in trouble, they're going to kick you off the team or something. That's no.
Yeah,
It's not like that.
it's flexible. Now, we want to prepare our teams for success. There are some high school teams that would, if they could live in the lab, they would, because they want to get past state. They want to go to worlds and compete with the best teams around the world.
And
This is
because
an
building
international
is that much fun too.
It is. And so you see this bullet point here, we're still determining our late days. That's more of me. I'm a big family guy, so I'm always trying to I struggle to balance family and work, but and family always comes first. I tell our students that. But there will occasionally be days when we stay even later. Last year, there were days when we'd stay till 7:30, and we'd order pizza. We can't do that this year, but as we get closer to competitions, or say we're getting ready for the state tournament, there will be times when I'll send out a remind message to all of you parents or an email and say, hey, on these days, I'll have extra late times to give them more time to practice. So there is, the possibility of some change happening, but what you see on the slide is going to be pretty consistent. Wouldn't you say so, Ms. Woods?
Yeah, the only time in my experience, the late times were usually as you got up close to a competition and you were really needing to hone in, on your robot and really get, fine tune. And we would stay late on those days. So unless
it's not that your students have to, and they're going to be looked down upon if they leave. That's never the case. It's just, we know that some of your sons or daughters might say, hey, mom or dad, I really want to put in some more time. I'm working on this program, or I'm working on this mechanism. And that's something that they do. Students could literally put in thousands of hours into these robots if they want to be the very best in the world and win the world championship. I'm not asking them to put in that much time, but a lot of them, that's what they would want to do. And so staying an extra 30 minutes, if I can do that, sometimes it does help. Now, I know not all of you have typed up the link to pull up this presentation. I will send out this form to y'all later, but this is just a way for us to gauge which of you would have an interest in your son or daughter spending a little extra time on certain days. I was telling Ms. Woods, I'm honestly curious how many of you and your kids would like to stay a little later on Mondays. I'll be there past 5:15. I'll be there till 6:15. So I'm curious how many of your students, how many of your kids would like to do that. So just a very easy form. Anything about scheduling practices, please include that in this form. That'd be the easiest way for us to get back to you about that. Of course, you can always email us, but I'll send out this form soon.
And again, that's not a commitment, right, Josh? If they
no,
day, that
it's just helping us
plan.
plan.
Committing to that day. I'm just saying, well, if we had extra time, it would probably be on, Tuesdays and Thursdays or something like that.
Yeah, we just would like to plan. Maybe every one of you has the same kind of evening in mind. Thursday, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. We just want to get a gauge for what y'all are thinking. Ms. Woods, it's up to you. I feel like it'd be appropriate to go ahead and pause and just answer some questions about practice.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's other things I want to discuss, like safety and competition.
Can you put the link to this form in chat too? Can you put the link to the form?
Yeah, let me go ahead and do that. That's a great idea. While I'm doing that, are there any questions about what we've covered so far?
Okay, this says, there is. I was going to read it, but it's actually the link.
Yeah, thank you for the suggestion of putting the link to the form in the chat. I should have done that. I did just post.
Hey, Josh. So sorry, this is Chantel. So I'm a little bit unclear about, is there a competition schedule already, or that'll be coming, or what you anticipate in terms of number of competitions, or do we know any of that?
It's an excellent question, and it's something I'm still not too sure about either. This time last year, I had a legit schedule for all my parents to see, but because of COVID, it has really done a number on our region and competitions. There's a lot of high schools that aren't even trying robotics this year. We actually have the ability to do a competition any weekend we want from Lovejoy High School virtually, where we will be streaming our students' robots on the field to judges offsite. And I haven't yet figured out our budget and how we're going to do this. And I also want to make sure that our students have their robots built, which Ms. Woods and I are going to be working on checklists and things to get them ready. I will tell you that I'm about 90% sure there will be a competition for your students to attend at the high school that we will host January 30th. I'm still working
Okay.
to confirm with Mr. Mayfield at the high school principal, but there will be an event in the spring that the district has said, yes, you can host an event at the high school.
And that's a lot closer than it sounds with Thanksgiving break and Christmas break thrown in there. That takes almost a month out of that. So January
So-
30th from our end is like, okay, we've got to get building. You know?
Yeah.
So I have another question. Josh has been virtual. I'm a Josh.
Yes.
My kid's Josh
Josh
too.
Barnett,
You know,
yeah.
Miss Woods.
Good name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's when he's been debating about whether he wants to come back in person. We've kind of been giving the kids some input, being part of the decision. Does it make a difference if he's in class too? Because he's in robotics at school, but he's right now doing it online. As far as the teams and the competitions, will that make a difference?
Miss Woods, if you don't
Yeah,
mind, I'll
it-
fill this one.
Because
You know,
yeah, please.
UIL is technically considered, UIL. Robotics is UIL. So whether you want him to be fully virtual or he decides fully virtual, he still is able to come in person to practices or competitions. But also, I have fully virtual students at the high school that are on competition teams, and there are so many ways that they can help out just from home.
Right.
Whether it's helping design, brainstorm, strategy. There's even some programming, some prototyping of programming that they can do, and that's.
I think he's doing some of that now, Miss Woods, right? But
Yeah, I think he's going to get his hands on some parts, isn't he?
Yeah.
He really wants to build too. So, I as far as I'm concerned, it's great. I don't know how procedurally that works.
I think he's
Because
just
we're in
debating
such
whether he
weird-
wants to come back full time because he wants to be in that one class in person. So
No,
we
it's
were
good.
kind of going through that.
Let's talk about that more later, because I actually was given permission at the high school. I think it's totally fine to share this. Mr. Mayfield, the principal, said that for your students that are fully virtual, if they want to come into your class, well, I guess it is different because I've got students that can drive, but if they wanted just to come up to the middle school for that one class that Miss Woods teaches, robotics, and that's it, according to the high school's rules, they're allowed to because it is UIL. And
Josh said that was true for sports too. I didn't know.
Exactly.
It is. And then I was told that the middle school
Wasn't
wasn't
really
UIL, and I have to make that clear because I'm going to be held accountable for that. So
Right.
just to let you know, I was told middle school level wasn't, but
Right.
then I'm finding out now that there's what is beta the right word to use?
Yeah, Vex Robotics is in a bit of a beta test of being considered UIL. It's that's not the word I'm looking for, but that's the best way I can describe it. But we, for all purposes, we are UIL. Mr. Mayfield, I've actually talked with him about that recently. He's like, "Yeah, you're UIL."
Also, as pointing as one as well as one unit. I'm
Anyways,
Okay,
Ms. Woods and I will look into that. And
okay.
let me just make a
let
note.
us look into it before we
we're
give
talking
the
to
firm answer,
Chantel?
because I really don't want to step
Yep.
into something.
Okay, and I don't know why my name says Audrey on here. That's my daughter's name. It's Arnett. So, and then I think I had one more question. Ms. Woods, do you know if they're doing anything at Sloan Creek this year for robotics, or is it just on hold?
I do not know. I haven't talked
I haven't
to them this
seen.
year because we've just not had the same kind of interaction this year. It's just
Yeah.
Okay.
I recently reached out to those.
Concrete. Have you?
I reached out to the ladies there that teach the STEM classes, and I'm still waiting for details, but I do know they want to try. It might be a fully virtual type thing, but
Okay.
Believe me, we still have a heart for helping support Sloan Creek.
Okay, because Audrey is actually in person and she's interested and didn't get to do it last year. So, but don't think I've seen anything in the emails or any.
I know we had a plan, but everything just got blown out of the water. So
I'll reach back out to them and let you know. I made another note with my doc, and any of y'all with students at Sloan Creek, I'm hoping that we'll have an update on robotics there pretty soon. It might be a fully virtual robotics type competition, but I do know there is one. The same competition they did last year, the TCEA robotics competition, there's a virtual option this year. In fact, there's no in-person for the TCEA one, but I will look into it again and reach back out to them and try to find out what's going on.
And her name is Audrey, is that right?
Uh-huh.
Is she 6th grade?
She's 6th grade. Yep. I have Tyler in 5th now. So
Can I ask a quick question before you move on?
Go for it. I actually was just wanting to talk more about competition stuff, but go ahead. What question do you have?
Is the intent that there be a team of middle schoolers, or is the idea that the middle schoolers would be sprinkled on the high school teams? And
It has to be middle schoolers only on a team, because when they go to events, there's oftentimes, like what we will host, mixed events. Because the beauty of it is they work on the same parts, same competition, but there's different divisions, right? Middle school teams at a mixed competition would compete against high school teams, but when it comes to the awards and the state tournament, it's just, I've actually got to get some clarity on that, but
Well, it
I
has a
do
lot to do
know.
with, the years of experience as well. There's no way someone that has been doing robotics for 2 years is going to compete against someone that's been doing robotics for 8 years. And it's almost unfair. So,
Well, but I will say I went to a mixed event last year where they gave out a high school excellence award and a middle school excellence award, a high
yes,
school
that's what
design
I'm
award,
saying.
and a middle school design
And
award.
so
So
they do take that into consideration is what I'm trying to say.
yeah. So they are only on a team with middle schoolers,
Mhm.
but it is at a mixed competition. They will be competing against some high school teams.
Here's how I'm hoping it will look, is that we will have the middle school kids will maintain their teams. We will probably blend some teams, but anyway, that they will still maintain it will be them. But the high schoolers will be there to mentor them and say they want to know how to get the most out of their motor, or they want to know how to do this certain gear system, or they're stuck in this idea. Then they've got a high schooler to mentor them through that. You see what I'm saying? So it's not that the middle school kids will be sprinkled onto the high school groups and then kind of get, not to participate as much. They're going to be fully responsible. It's going to be they're fully their robot, but they'll have the benefit of the high school's experience.
And I think that's super helpful too. I have freshmen and freshman teams that are, I don't want to say struggling, but it's difficult because it's their first year to truly be engaged in this VEX robotics competition, and starting them in middle school is going to help them to hit the ground running in high school.
The experience and the confidence that you get, you'll get the skill along the way, but just the experience and the confidence that you get is what I'm pushing for as we go up.
And I saw middle school teams beat high school teams last year. No joke.
Oh, yeah.
So I can find some videos to show y'all. But
I didn't mean that. I didn't mean it wasn't possible. I was just meaning
recognize
them
so
at different levels.
I've
take
got
into
some beginner,
consideration
I've got some beginner high school teams that
you're not
you don't know. Some middle school teams can definitely they can outperform them sometimes.
I
It's all about
actually, I think I got some geniuses in my class. I think it's possible.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to see that.
We'll spar them against each other and see.
Well, I don't want to just rush from that. Did that answer your question?
So Miss Woods, this is Audrey. You're asking.
Oh, awesome.
He just wanted to know
that you're into robotics.
Okay.
Keep being interested. Let me breeze through the rest of these for sake of time. It is 8:27. So there's not much to show on these slides. Just know that we are planning on potentially a hybrid, where they come to the Lovejoy High School. It's only Lovejoy students they'd be around, and they do a virtual hybrid event, which I can explain in more detail later if you're interested in the specifics of that. We're still working out the date. It originally was going to be in February, but we're moving it because of an ACT test. We're looking at potentially January 30th on a Saturday for a combined middle school, high school event at the high school where other schools will come to compete. I haven't even gotten to safety protocols. We need to get to that. So again, we're going to be trying to attend some more competitions in the spring with your students with the hope of qualifying for state. The state tournament is typically around the end of February. And then based on how they do, we're preparing for Worlds in March. Of course, your students are still welcome to be building the robots, even if their season has ended. They can continue building the robots and working alongside our high schoolers that are continuing their season. And VEX Worlds is in Dallas. We're hoping that the world is a little safer by then, but I'm already planning to take my teams that didn't qualify there as just a field trip experience if it's safe. It's in Dallas it hasn't been for a number of years, but anyways, VEX Worlds is an incredible experience. And of course, y'all are all invited to join us for the end of year banquet ceremony if it happens, because of COVID and whatnot, where we honor our teams. Robotics has never had their own banquet, and then whenever I was hired, that was one of the big things I wanted. I want us all to have a end of the year time to honor them. So the goal is that everyone participates and gains valuable experience through hands-on projects, fierce competitions, and exploration in a safe environment. Maybe 30 minutes was too quick to schedule a meeting, but let me just breeze through some of these things, not because it's unimportant, it's very important, but a lot of this is stuff that you should already expect. We're limiting the number of teams around each other. I tell my teams all the time, you're going to be within that little bubble of 6 feet with your team, but don't go encroaching on another team's bubble of space. That would help us in the event of needing to, what's it called, contact tracing. So I do try to say, all right, teams stick together. If you need to talk to someone on another team, talk to them, but don't get up close. Of course, to keep things safe, we're looking at doing hybrid competitions held at Lovejoy, not traveling to competitions as much. Not every student will be able to attend a competition due to safety, limitations, funding, etc. There's a competition we're going to in December with my high school teams where the district over there has said only 4 students per team may come. So there's situations like that. Also, parents might not be able to attend competitions. It all depends on, like for Lovejoy, it depends on the district's rules. That's not up to us. So the district will tell us if parents can attend or not. I've got numbers that designate where students work. They've got these rolling tool carts so that if I need to say, hey, it's too crowded over here, take your robot and go work somewhere else. They take their parts, their tool cart, and they go work somewhere else. I'm going to look into getting some for the middle school. Our booster club stepped up and helped us out with that. So we're going to look into that. I have students every day. The middle schoolers will do this also. There's a little QR code they scan when they walk into the lab after school, and they fill out a very short screener that says, I am COVID symptom free and I'm healthy and ready to work. And it's their way of checking in, and it lets me always know who was there after school. Masks are on at all times. Always inform coach that you're not feeling well. Always wash and sanitize hands. I've got 3 sinks in my room alone, and lots of soap and paper towels. So I'm very blessed to have sinks in my lab. When practical, wear gloves. It's not mandatory because it's hard to work with the small screws with gloves on sometimes. Of course, social distancing as much as possible. Always have digital collaboration available to team members, so virtual students have the opportunity to work with them. Only grab the parts you intend to use, right? I'm big on don't just go over there and grab everything.
Yes, I preach the same thing. If you don't need it, don't touch it.
Oh yeah, and no food in the lab. Bottled water is okay, but not left out, must be secured. Of course, there is a whole entire document of VEX Robotics. They're somewhat run, I'm not sure how to phrase this, but the REC Foundation, the Robotics Education and Competition Foundation, is a nonprofit that oversees VEX Robotics competitions. And they have this COVID-19 update document that you can click on, and it has more information about all of those things. We use Power Tools, we use Remind. We're going to set up a parent Remind group that we'll send out to y'all. Discord is a virtual digital collaboration that the district has approved our team students to use. I have not talked to Ms. Woods yet about if we're going to use that, but my high schoolers are all on one Discord communication server. It's free. Me and multiple Lovejoy High School teachers and admin monitor it to make sure they're staying safe. They also might use Microsoft OneNote for digital engineering notebooks, but that's something that's up to Ms. Woods. So all of these things kind of fall under our team contract, which I want to talk about very briefly. I know I'm going a little over our time. So I told up my students, and I told my parents, my high school parents, I'll tell y'all now, I remind students that we are always following the student code of conduct and the Lovejoy technology acceptable use policy for technology. Every student and parent should read the team contract. It outlines what I've basically described just now with the safety, and there's other things in there like, you know, you're respectful at all times. If Miss Woods or myself have to ask a student more than 2 times to keep their hands to themselves, or, you know, not use profanity or anything weird like that, we ask them to take a week off for like a probation period where we'll talk to you and the parents and just kind of check in to see if this is still something they want to be a part of. But I'm a big stickler on respect and, you know, kindness. And so we don't have it's 0 tolerance for disrespect or, you know, discrimination or anything like that. We want robotics to be very inclusive and welcoming.
And positive. There should be a good positive vibe there.
And positive. So this is one of the most important things. There's one more slide I want to share, but I would encourage all of you to basically say, yes, we want to continue doing competitive robotics where they come to the high school or they practice after school with Sylvia and myself. I want parents to fill out this form right here, which I will, I'll place the link for this here in a second. Actually, I think this will work. Again, I'm going to email all this out so you don't have to stress it. But this parent form says I've read the team contract and I agree to it. There's also a student form, which I will include. It's got this bit.ly link as well. But these are the things that I'd ask you to fill out as a parent and the student to fill out. And one of the last things is, if you want to help us out there, you're strongly encouraged to join our booster club. It is how we support our students and get them what they need to be successful. The district can't always afford to send us to many events or buy us all the parts we need. So this is what we use when we are in need. At the very top, you can see there's a link to order apparel. I had actually, the online store had closed before we realized that the district was okay with us combining forces. And now middle school robotics is also considered 1082. So I would highly encourage each of y'all that are like, I definitely want my son or daughter to be on a team this year or next year at the high school. Please go order some apparel. I also need to sell 3 more zipper jackets. So if any of y'all would like to order your son or daughter a zipper jacket, please try to do that. Mrs. Vaughn is our Booster Club president. She's also a teacher at the high school. Donations to the Booster Club, there's a link down there if you're interested. And I will need parent volunteers in the spring for our event. So if you want to help out with being a robotics referee or a notebook judge, let me know.
That'll be fun.
I rushed through the end of the slideshow, but that's it. We will send the slideshow out to everyone. And I will spend 5 more minutes answering questions before I have to go. I don't know how much time Sylvia has, but what questions do y'all have?
My responsibility is right there. Any questions?
And I would say, as soon as, what is tomorrow? Tomorrow is Wednesday. Sylvia, are we beginning tomorrow with you coming to the high school?
We can.
We can.
Yeah.
We will be flexible, please. We still will have some kinks to work out, I have no doubt. But if as soon as y'all fill out the forms, the parent and the student form, we can kick this thing off tomorrow even. And of course, we will create a parent remind group so I can keep y'all in the loop. Email is good, but I've found that remind, text help. Y'all are free to go. Thank you so much for attending. If you have no questions, you are free to go. We are beyond thankful for all of y'all. Thank you for your support and for encouraging that love of STEM with your young adults. We really appreciate that.
Can I ask one more quick question?
Please do. Yes.
Talk to us about cost involved, other than extra things like Booster Club and apparel. What are kind of the costs you expect related to participation? We've
played around with the idea of there being a sign-up fee to be on a team, because it's a very expensive type of thing that we do. Robotics is not cheap, but there's currently no cost. It's encouraged to have a Lovejoy Robotics shirt. At the high school, I make it mandatory. They all get at minimum the same color of t-shirt and then whatever extras they want. I don't know if Miss Woods wants to enforce anything like that. I figured for this first year we didn't.
I would like it to happen, but since it's just now being told and the deadline is right around the corner, I mean, it's right there. If you can't, then it's totally understandable. But it's just, I don't want to, if I don't know, I just think it would be nice if they compete, if they.
Yep, this was Josh. We just ordered Josh the red shirt, the long sleeve shirt, because he wanted the Lovejoy color. So
I love it. That's awesome.
Sounds great.
Did that answer your question though, or were you more curious like how much a typical competition registration costs? Or
yeah, that's really, I guess, also what I mean is if the team is going to go to competitions, what cost is involved there?
Well, we are currently looking to. There's an initial fee to register a team for the entire season. It's just your entrance into the competition season, which is about I want to say it's like $85 or $100. But each competition, depending on if it's a virtual hybrid competition at the high school or if it's a full-on face-to-face competition you're traveling to, it could be around $80. Now, the competition we host at the high school in the spring might not cost the teams anything, but this is never a cost that y'all pay. It's from our STEM robotics budget at the school level. It's just a one-time fee for Team M, right, for middle school that has 4 students on it. The school would pay the $85 to register them for one competition, for example. So if you're taking 8 teams to a competition, you can see how it can become, hundreds of dollars. But again, if we are nearing the point where the district, at least at the high school, is not able to fund more competitions. They still can right now. We haven't registered for very many. There's only been 2. But eventually the Booster Club steps in to help out with those. Does that make sense?
So really you're saying there's not any individual cost unless we travel, and then if we were traveling to a competition, every student their own
But
way.
right now it's covered by the school or the booster club.
Okay.
Yeah.
You would be responsible for your travel costs if you came, and any food, things like that. But right now the competition fees and stuff are covered either through school or booster club.
Yeah, there's really
Which is
no
why we
cost.
really encourage booster club membership, because it helps build that support.
Absolutely. If they
That's
were
the
ever
growth
at a
needed.
place, right, and if a team was ever so great that they qualified for a tournament that was out of state, it might not be Vex Worlds, but there's these events called signature events that are held in these, places across the country that are elite. You have to have met certain criteria to get into them. Those aren't typically things the campus or district would pay for because it's an above and beyond thing. That's where we'd probably ask parents to help out with their son or daughter's airfare, or taking a charter bus or something. I don't know if we're going to do any signature events this year. We're very lucky that Worlds is in Dallas, but there's really no cost associated with robotics right now. So that's a good thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Any other questions? I'm about to get going. Sylvia can answer more questions, but any other questions for me?
Do you think there'll be multiple middle school teams?
Oh yeah,
4 is our number right now, right?
I'm looking at 4. I think
I
that's
like that idea.
because I've got one that's going to be all the girls are going to stick together, and that's really to help promote girls. And they chose to stay together, of course, but I really am excited to have them. It's good for the little girls coming up to see that. And then I'm going to have a total of 3. It looks like once we combine forces.
That's awesome.
Hey, Josh, I just wanted to tell you, I may have spoken to you at one of the demos, but I got dragged into judging last year. So at at some point, if you wanted me to talk to the kids about what that experience was, I don't think they realized the importance of the notebook and what the judges were looking for. And they didn't tell me I couldn't talk to our students about the judging, experience. So
you should join me one day for a lesson. Every month I've done at least 1 or 2 lessons on engineering notebooks, and I'm going to be helping give these and showing Sylvia my lessons to our middle school students. But I would love for you to come and share with me or with our students, because it's something that I'm putting much more emphasis on this year. I've learned a
lot of preaching about it. I've done a lot of preaching about the engineering notebooks, but the actual, what you can provide for us that's unique.
There was the rubric, and then there was also the fact that if your notebook was bad, you were kind of immediately eliminated from that top award. You were just set aside. You weren't even in the running for the overall winner.
Absolutely. The first thing they'll do is separate into 2 piles.
Yep.
Top and bottom.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think there were some other key takeaways. So.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd love that. All right, well, I'm going to get going. Sylvia, does anyone else have any questions, or I guess are we free to end the meeting?
I'm excited. I hope you guys are too.
Yeah, we're very
building something. We're creating this right now, and I just hope you guys feel a part of it and you're excited about it too.
I'm having to contain myself. I really, just like Sylvia said, super pumped.
This will be fantastic. Thank you for making it happen.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you for saying so.
Well, if no one has any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and just end the meeting.
All right.
Y'all are okay with that? Have a great night, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you. Coming.
Thank you, Ms. Woods.
Thank you, Josh.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.